I love thinking of Uncle Herb as having a superhero origin story. In particular, because when we think of superheroes, I mean, there's different kinds, but when I think of like um, Superman, right? He has this very humble side to him, and I think Uncle Herb, who is kind of a superhero to me, he has such a humility to him. But when I listen to him and I hear how him describe being a child and growing up in upstate New York, he and especially now that he's 95, he's distilled everything down to what stands out the most, almost to like what's most important. And it's his memories of the hills that surrounded that little town. It's his memory of the frozen pond that he would skate on as a little boy. It's playing on these boulders, these that were near his house. And so and feeling and then translating that into initially his medium of creative expression was clay. So from being very, very little, and I think what's really interesting about this is it wasn't Legos. You talk to a lot of architects, and they often say their original kind of fascination with architecture came from Legos and playing with Legos. And that's great, that's wonderful. But that's a really different tool. And because Uncle Herb was working with clay, I think, kind of looking back at it, he always says he has a strong sense of mass and form. That's sort of those are his like what I would call superpowers. But he luckily was given, lumps of clay to play with, and he would make forms that were provocative enough where even his mother, who, was not an architect, was not an artist, was not, she said she would look at these things that he was making and she'd say, we better watch out for Herbie.